Hello and welcome. This is Amhara Media Corporation and you are watching our Thursday update live from Bahardar, Ethiopia, and I am Fikrat Dizotu. Stay with us. The International Criminal Police Organization said that the regional operational project ROC, established to support the Khartoum process, has been playing a crucial role in mitigating transboundary crimes. Let's get more from Amhara.
ROC is a regional project formed to fight criminal networks involved in human trafficking and smuggling. It was launched as part of the Khartoum process at the request of countries from the Horn of Africa. The $5 million project that involves 11 African countries, including Ethiopia, helps to change information about abuses committed on citizens by criminals engaged in human trafficking and extradition of the perpetrators. ROC is holding a meeting in Addis Ababa to evaluate the implementation process of the project that has been under implementation from 2022 to 2025. ROC Technical Director Hervé Jamet told Ethiopian News Agency that ROC, during its first round plan of action report that had taken place from 2019 to 2021, was able to gather and analyze more than 400 crime-related information to the Interpol to take the necessary actions. According to him, Ethiopia, Egypt, Sudan, South Sudan, Djibouti, Eritrea, Kenya, Libya, Tunisia, Uganda and Somalia have registered concrete results in mitigating transboundary crimes in partnership. The countries have been able to deliver more than 700 crime-related information to the Interpol through ROC in their efforts to prevent crimes in collaboration.
We started in 2019 this project, and already we have done more than 700 intelligence reports concerning human trafficking. You have to bear in mind that we have ROC has participated to the arrest of 4 of the top most wanted criminals in Africa involved in human trafficking.
Following ROC's launch of the second round plan of action in May 2022, more than 2,200 victims of human trafficking were freed from human traffickers due to measures taken in collaboration with Interpol and member countries.
We have released, just since the beginning of May 2022, we have participated to the release of more than 2,200 victims of human trafficking. So as you can see, the results are quite impressive.
Eastern Africa Police Chiefs Cooperation Organization Chief Executive Officer and Chairperson of Interpol Regional Bureau, Gideon Kimilu, said member countries, including Ethiopia, have been actively participating in the successful implementation of the project. According to the Chief Executive Officer, Ethiopia has been playing its part in mitigating illegal activities in the region, including extradition of suspects of human traffickers to the Interpol. He stated that the government of Ethiopia is committed to prevent and fight against human trafficking in collaboration with the Interpol.
The Ethiopian government, like all the other governments in this region, are very determined to fight and prevent human trafficking. The government of Ethiopia is working very hard to make sure that criminal networks are dismantled. Criminals are arrested, prosecuted, and convicted. Those who try to hide in this country and they are wanted elsewhere, they, through the Interpol red notices, are arrested and taken to those countries to be prosecuted. Those are wanted in Ethiopia and they are hiding in another country. The Ethiopian government, through Interpol, and through the support of intelligence from ROC, they are identified, arrested, brought here, and prosecuted.
Noting that the Mediterranean region is one of the places where human trafficking and other international crimes are committed, Kimilu said Ethiopia has been extraditing suspected criminals who fled from Libya to South Africa.
Secretary of Malvinas Affairs in Argentina's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Guillermo Carmona, said that bilateral and other relationships between Ethiopia and Argentina will improve in the coming years. Burhan Wargana will give us a detail.
According to him, Argentina has an important relationship with the countries in Africa in general and Ethiopia in particular. The bilateral tie with Ethiopia is very important today. He said they will improve the bilateral ties in other aspects that they consider very important for both countries. He hoped that the relationship will be more important in the next years in different aspects, political, economic, among others. With regard to expanding areas of cooperation between the two countries, Carmona stated that Argentina and Ethiopia linked with Ethiopian Airlines as the airline flies daily to Buenos Aires. The flight to Argentina helped to boost tourism and commercial relations between the two countries. Ethiopian Airlines has launched a flight to Buenos Aires, Argentina in 2018, and this has been playing a significant role in advancing the tourism business and people-to-people ties, not only between the two countries, but also in connecting Argentina with the African continent.
There are some aspects very important for the cooperation, especially the agriculture cooperation. We have different programs in Argentina of cooperation with Ethiopia and other countries. The cooperation in agriculture matters is strong, and we have the interchange of experience and the professionals in science, especially linked with the agriculture activity.
Both countries are working to enhance trade, investment, education, agriculture and renewable energy and technical cooperations, among others. Argentina is one of the largest economies in South America, and the capital Buenos Aires is the second largest city in Latin America with a population over 15 million.
The Chinese embassy in Addis Ababa has provided financial support to 117 Ethiopian students of Addis Ababa University as part of the China-Ethiopia Friendship Scholarship Award. Morda Muliye will give us the detail.
During the ceremony held on March 7th, Addis Ababa University President Professor Tasa Weldahana said the support will improve and promote academic excellence. It's learned that over 2 million birr grant provided for a year would benefit 117 students. 80 of the awardees are Bachelor of Arts degree holders, 18 Chinese language students, 6 PhDs, 12 students from Addis Ababa Institute of Technology, and 1 from the Institute of Peace and Security Studies. Thanking China for the scholarship, the president called on the Chinese government to continue the scholarship support. China Embassy Minister Councillor Shen Kinmin on his part affirmed that China will continue to further strengthen its educational sector cooperation with Ethiopia. He added the Chinese support to Ethiopian students will continue to grow in both the amount of finance and the number of students for scholarship in the years to come. This Ethio-China Friendship Agreement for Scholarship program was signed at Addis Ababa University in September last year. China and Ethiopia began their cooperation of scholarship program 5 years ago.
Maize breeder and seed system specialist at International Maize and Wheat Improvement Center, Adafris Teklawald, said Ethiopia has a huge potential for maize production, which could be exported to neighboring countries. Ababa Brahani will give us the detail.
According to him, the yield of maize in the country is very high, and the productivity is also the highest in sub-Saharan Africa, except in South Africa and Egypt. The specialist said that the maize production in Ethiopia is very conducive and high, adding that productivity per hectare is also the highest from all the cereals in the country. The surplus product has therefore to be sold to neighboring countries because most of the neighboring countries are maize-consuming population. Adafris stated that the seed system are very good in some other activities, including agricultural conservation and developing drought-resistance varieties, and biotic factors like insects and pests are also underway.
If you are talking about self-sufficiency and food self-sufficiency and nutrition security, maize can play a major role because it is the most liked cereals in the country. I mean, almost from 30 million households in Ethiopia that are smallholder farmers, nearly 90% produce maize. So the very first thing is most liked. The other is it's very productive. The third, it is grown in all regions of the country, actually, everywhere, from lowlands to highlands.
The specialist noted that, in terms of export, the country was exporting maize 5 or 6 years ago, further adding that, with more involvement, maize production can be expanded to the irrigated areas of the lowlands of Afar and Somali regions. He said, as long as this area is irrigated, they can develop varieties that can suit for that condition, but pushing maize toward the lowland is a little bit slow. Compared to other cereals, technology utilization for maize is higher than the other cereals because the germplasm development is a global one.
Government is, I think, doing good in terms of maize production because the national maize research system is one of the best in the region. I think the highest budget is allocated for maize, and the maize research system is quite comparable or best in Africa.
He stressed that in the future, this support has to continue and the seed issue has to be a little bit improved through policy, and the green market also needs to be liberalized. The government has to popularize and scale up newly released improved maize varieties in the country, increase availability of improved seed, improve supply of inputs, specifically fertilizer and herbicides. Even if International Maize and Wheat Improvement Center's mandate is limited, the specialist stated that it will continue to supply improved germplasm knowledge in seed system and support maize research and development.
This is Amhara Media Corporation and you are watching our daily news. Proceeding to news beyond borders. Nigeria's Electoral Commission has postponed elections for state governors and local assemblies by 1 week following a court decision over machines in tolling of votes. The Independent National Electoral Commission said the move will allow more time for the so-called BVAS machines to be reconfigured and deployed for the upcoming vote. The polls, which had been scheduled to take place on Saturday, will now be held on 18th March. The court earlier on Wednesday had rejected an opposition demand to halt the reconfiguring of BVAS so their teams could check for forensic evidence of ballot rigging claims. But the commission said the legal challenge had held up preparations and the machines would not be ready in time. In Senegal, a video of 3 cups that would have hardly been imaginable as a few years ago has given hope that the revered West African lion, which has been disseminated over time, was revived. The U.S.-based wildcat conservation organization Panthera has released never-before-seen images of a lioness and 3 cubs spotted in February by a remote cameras in the Nikolo Koba National Park in southeastern Senegal, in what Panthera describes as a thrilling sign of recovery for the critically endangered West African lion. Video footage shows the big cat eating an animal carcass while its 3-month-old offspring try to imitate it. They brandish their claws and fangs, testing them out on scraps of wood on their mother's hindquarters. Panthera has since 2011 been working with Senegal's Department of National Parks on conservation efforts in the Niokolo Koba Park. Cyclone Freddy is expected to make landfall again in Mozambique later than this week after it struck Madagascar for a second time on Monday. Let's get more from the report. It killed 4 people on the Indian Ocean island, bringing Freddy's death toll to 21. The storm first wreaked havoc in southeastern Africa in late February and has displaced thousands in both countries. It may become the longest-lasting storm on record as it has been spinning over the Indian Ocean for 32 days. The World Meteorological Organization says it is rare for a storm to make such a loop, describing it as meteorologically remarkable. The longest storm on record is Hurricane Joan, also known as Typhoon Joan, that lasted 31 days in 1994. Given that Cyclone Freddy has periodically weakened over the last 32 days, the World Meteorological Organization says it will take several months to evaluate whether it has broken Joan's record. Freddy has already broken records for the strength it has accumulated and the 8,000-kilometer path it traveled across the Indian Ocean. The cyclone developed off the North Australian coast in early February and then traveled thousands of kilometers across the southern Indian Ocean, affecting Mauritius and La Réunion before making landfalls in Madagascar 2 weeks later and then Mozambique. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, a U.S. government agency, has tweeted a time-lapse of Freddy's movement across the Indian Ocean. Mozambique is now bracing for a second landfall, while still reeling from the rains and floods brought by the storm. According to the United Nations World Food Programme, more than 160,000 people have already been affected by Freddy. Meanwhile, Madagascar received around 3 times its usual monthly average rainfall in the past week alone. This is all we got for today. I am Fukrati Zodo and you are watching our Thursday update live from Bahar Dar, Ethiopia. Upcoming next is Messenger. Stay with Professor Shumet Sishany and Johannes Lijalan. Do enjoy the program.